Well, good morning and welcome to the aforementioned Grow Omaha show. Jeff Beals sitting here at your service from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, Omaha's premier commercial and residential roofing contractor. Well, you will not find another show anywhere in Omaha that talks about the growth and development of your favorite city. So sit back, relax. This is going to be a fun hour. And to get us started, I'm going to bring on my co-host, a man that I affectionately refer to as the legendary real estate deal maker himself, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, good morning to you, too. And what a nice weekend this is here in our city.
Spring.
Welcome to spring. It is officially spring. We've had meteorological spring since March 1st, and much of the winter felt like spring, but it's really spring.
And thanks to Brad Williams, we've seen the Sandhill Cranes on his website.
Oh, did Brad post some Sandhill Cranes photos?
Brad Williams on Facebook, and great pictures, and he goes out there every year. I think it's like his 14th year.
Last night, we went out with our friends Greg and Lori to the symphony, and
wow, you're cultured.
I like to think of myself that way, although it's probably been about 5 or 6 years since I had been to the symphony. Great show. Really good time. Yeah.
So we went to Hassan Minhaj, a comedian, about a week ago. And interesting thing, there's a service called Yonder. And what they do is he didn't want anybody to have cell phones to take pictures or listening devices and people playing on their cell phones. So you stand in these huge lines, and they take your cell phone and your iWatches, or whatever they call them, and they put them in these pouches, and they lock them up, kind of like at those security devices you have at stores and stuff like that on small products. And then they take them off at the end or whatever. But it created some big lines. It was kind of a pain in the you don't know what.
I don't like that. I've heard of that happening in a few different places. I don't like that. I understand why they do it, but it's another hassle. You already have to go through security.
Creating a problem,
yeah. I will note, like last night during the show, you periodically would see someone's phone light up somewhere in the audience, but not very often. And so I think that's a bit of an overkill. But yes, I've heard of venues doing that periodically around the country.
But I can understand how it can get disturbing at the symphony or concerts and things like that. And maybe there's one less data center because that company exists, because of all the storage that we need. Seriously, think about
one less wing of one less data center.
Billions of pictures that are taken that nobody ever looks at again, the 15 different shots, and it's stored infinitely.
Oh, yeah. You want a perfect example of that? Okay, Thursday night, my daughter's 8th grade band concert took place at school. I loved listening to her, loved seeing her, but there were several parents that video recorded the entire show. They literally, their arms had to hurt holding the camera up for the whole entire show. And as much as I love, truly, honestly, watching my kids do anything, what are the odds that
They're probably selling NFTs.
What are the odds that anyone's going to go in and actually watch those entire videos?
Oh, exactly.
Of every band concert over the course of a child's.
Sell them online.
It's not going to happen. So there you go. That's a lot of data center space.
Save a data center.
What I recommend is take 1 or 2 still shots and then maybe like a 20-second video clip. Call it good, parents. You don't need to record the entire 8th grade concert.
Send it to the grandparents. You're good.
But with that, let's go into the news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. They know mortgages like nobody knows mortgages. Been doing it a long time, and they're very customer service focused. And it is officially, as we mentioned just a few moments ago, spring. And spring is a crazy, wild time for people going out and hunting for new houses, putting offers in on new houses, and closing on new houses. If that could be you, make sure you stop by Eagle Mortgage right away and get your pre-approval letter. And it doesn't matter whether you're going to use a conventional FHA or VA loan, get a pre-approval letter. Plus, the people at Eagle Mortgage love to work with people, kind of, coach you through the process a little bit, and you'll be glad you did, because they are top-notch. You can find them online at eaglemortgagecompany.com or in person at 114th and Davenport. Well, Trenton, this was a piece of good news for the local economy. Charles Schwab's workforce in Omaha is now larger than TD Ameritrade's workforce when Charles Schwab first announced that merger a couple of years ago. Good thing for Omaha. Employment here remains very, very robust. And get a load of this. According to a World Herald article, Charles Schwab / TD Ameritrade has 300 open jobs on the market right now in Omaha. So actually, there could be even 300 additional employees.
That's awesome. That's a great indication of their commitment to Omaha. Now, have they moved back into their office building? Do we know?
That's a good question. I have not lurked outside that building, but the one question I do have is when will the TD Ameritrade sign sadly come off and the Charles Schwab sign go on that building?
Like the ballpark?
Has that happened yet? I don't think it had. When I was downtown a week ago, it still said TD Ameritrade.
Okay. We saw the renderings, I guess.
Yeah, but it's my understanding that that's supposed to be ready for the College World Series, which is only a couple months away. Okay, or maybe April, May, June. Yeah, 2.5, 3 months away or something like that.
How about those Lady Jays basketball team?
You know, I don't watch basketball myself, but how exciting that they made the Elite Eight. That's pretty cool.
First time ever.
And they've beaten a couple regional teams, Iowa and Iowa State. So that's always kind of interesting when you are taking on regional rivals like that. But at any rate, good news all the way around when it comes to Charles Schwab and TD Ameritrade. Okay, the Moxie by Marriott Hotel. We've talked about this for a couple of years now. It's been a slow-moving construction project, but it's definitely making visible, noticeable progress right now up onto the third floor. This is the hotel, very small hotel that will replace, remember the Old Market Diner? This was the little traditional, 50s style diner.
Totally.
The corner would have been, 12th and Harney. Yeah. And so this Moxie by Marriott Hotel is really filling that up. I mean, it's a tight space. And I've not stayed at a Moxie by Marriott, but I have walked by a couple of them in other cities and looked by. They look like a cool concept.
We should start a pool on what's going to get completed first, the Moxie Hotel or the Hacienda Real on, 72nd, 78th and Cass?
Hacienda Real, yeah, that is a Mexican restaurant concept out of Lincoln, which I understand is pretty darn good. But that's a classic example of a lesson learned. And you know what the lesson is? Don't put up the sign until you're almost ready to open.
True.
What, has that sign been up for almost a year? It
Seems
feels
like it.
It's got to be at least over a half a year since that they put the sign up a little too early, I'm afraid. But I tell you, it's hard to open restaurants because you're dealing with the double whammy of supply chain issues and the labor shortage.
But they still seem to be opening.
Well, and in the business that NAI NP Dodge operates in, there are a lot of restaurant operators looking for restaurant space.
I've got clients that are doing it right now.
And if you want restaurant space, who do you call?
Trenton Maggin.
Trenton call. And what's that phone number, Trenton?
402-510-5263. The bat phone.
That's right. The bat phone right there. Here's a little piece of good news. Habitat for Humanity. Actually, it's a big piece of good news. Habitat for Humanity of Omaha will receive $11 million in unrestricted gifts from philanthropist Mackenzie Scott. The gift will help families in the metro area become first-time home buyers. That's what Habitat does. Now, beyond that $11 million gift, Habitat Omaha has a $108 million 4-year goal that includes, of course, building and renovating more houses, providing mortgage opportunities for families, creating a down payment assistance fund, and preserving existing housing stock.
Yeah, and kudos to Amanda Brewer, our friend and CEO of Habitat for Humanity Local. They do an amazing job. And so that's Mackenzie Scott is the ex-wife of Jeff Bezos from Amazon. So that is a very kind gift.
Yeah, big-time Amazon money coming into a lot of nonprofits. Mackenzie Scott, in addition to Omaha's Habitat, donated money to several other local Habitat for Humanities and multiple other nonprofits. She had this big list that she released. But yeah, great to have that kind of money coming into a good cause here in our city. So if you are a person who uses private aviation at Epley, this could have an impact on your life. Signature Aviation is buying TAC Air. Now, both Signature and TAC Air have fixed base operator facilities in the general aviation, the east side of Eppley. Okay. And so a lot of companies either have their jet with TAC or they have it with Signature Air. Well, they're going to be buying each other. They're both way bigger than Omaha, though. Signature Flight Support FBO is a chain of more than 200 locations around the world. And then TAC Air has 16 locations. There are 3 airports in which the 2 companies operate. One of those is Eppley Airport in Omaha. So it could be interesting. Aviation news outlets that reported this said, they may have to divest one of those operations. So it'll be interesting. We could have a different fixed base operator after that sale goes
Signature,
through.
I assume.
Well, one would assume if they're the acquirer, unless they're coming up with some other name or something like that. Who knows? But my guess is it would stay. And then CoStar is kind enough to give us some national real estate news that we kind of like to give you a little national perspective every once in a while. And today we're going to talk about single family home sales in the United States. Get a load of this. New home sales followed the decline of existing home sales in February. Another indicator that buyers might be slowing down as mortgage rates rise. Sales dropped 2% from January and are 6.2% lower than last year. So it's still really wild and crazy in most U.S. markets when it comes time to find a house to buy. But maybe it won't be quite as wild and crazy.
And the average sale price of a home now is $500,000 in the country.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And Omaha is a lot lower than that, but way higher than what it was just a year or two ago. So that is your real estate development and economic development news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. When we come back, Trenton and I are going to talk about the best places to work in Omaha and the best big cities to live in the United States of America. The city that we're in right now may have made that list. At any rate, you don't want to miss any of this, plus quite a bit more coming up on Grow Omaha. You're listening to the show brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing. By the way, we love those guys. D&M Roofing, led quite capably by Eric Obrumt, a really good team of seasoned professionals that have been with Eric for a long time, and they install and fix roofs. But a lot of you who listen to the show either own or make decisions about commercial property. And if that is you want to check out D&M Roofing's preventative maintenance program. It is a way of being proactive and in many cases has saved building owners quite a bit of money. So you can find them online at dandmroofing.com. Well, Trenton, let's talk about the best places to work in Omaha. This comes out every year, and it is sponsored by Baird Home, a law firm headquartered in the Woodman Tower downtown. And then the program sponsor that runs it is the Greater Omaha Chamber. So here are the 2022 winners for best places to work in Omaha. And we start with the first category, which would be 25 to 200 employees. So our small to medium-sized companies. Number 1, SupportWorks. Number 2.
They used to be Thrasher.
But Thrasher still exists. So are they just
Thrasher is a separate part of the business.
Yeah.
SupportWorks is, but that's what I think the Thrasher family came in.
Okay. But they
expanded, yeah.
But Thrasher still exists as a separate entity. Okay. 2, Midland's Choice. 3, Charter West Bank. The power of an eagle. That commercial runs on KFAB. Yeah, Charter West Bank. 4, Bridges Trust, which built that sweet building right on 132nd and West Dodge Road.
Pat McNeil built it, but yeah, they're a tenant.
That's the building that when you drive by has the amazing LED light show on the side.
And they put the Ukrainian flag on the side, yeah.
By the way, we need more of those things in Omaha.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Stuff like that livens the city up. I'm sure it wasn't cheap, but it really makes the city look a lot cooler. And then number 5, Pattern. I don't know what the heck that is.
Pattern?
Just called Pattern. but whatever it is, apparently it's a great
Sounds
place
like it might
to
have
work.
been like AccuQuilt or something, but I don't know.
It's a great place to work. We know that. Now we go to companies with more than 200 employees. Number 1, Fusion Medical Staffing. Number 2,
We got a lot of medical staffing.
Omaha is a true hub of medical staffing, and so much of it,
Medical Solutions, triage.
so much of it goes back to Larry Courtnidge, who founded CNA
Yeah,
Industries,
amazing guy.
which was sold a few years ago to Medical Solutions. But yes, so much of that basically can be traced back to one guy, Larry Courtnidge, who started that. And then he and his wife, Kathy, and the team built up such a great company. Okay, number 2, LRS Healthcare. There's another one.
Yeah.
So the top 2 big companies to work are both in medical staffing. Number 3, Carson Group. They are the company that is in
There's
that
a new building.
beautiful, brand new 6-story headquarters by 144th and West Dodge Road. I want to get a tour of that building sometime. That place is amazing. Number 4, FNIC. And number 5, Yahoo.
Really?
Yeah. So they've gone, it's my understanding they got rid of that. Have they gotten rid of that Oath thing and have gone back to Yahoo for their branding?
Was it called Oath?
Yeah, for a while. It was called Oath or something like that.
Well, Facebook is Meta, so
Yeah. You're nothing in the tech world if you don't have multiple names. All right, let's go into another kind of fun topic. And this comes from newsbreak.com. And newsbreak.com recently created a list. Everyone loves to create lists. But this one was the best big cities to live in. And they took every city that has more than 200,000 people, and Omaha with nearly 500,000 would certainly qualify to be on the list, and they picked up their top 50. Now, where do you think Omaha came in?
I'll say top 5.
You're a little too optimistic, but not too bad.
Okay.
Number 15.
Okay.
Number 15. So let me give you, go to that part where
Did they
Omaha
mention
is.
our radio show?
No, but I'm sure it was just an oversight. Okay, they had a real nice picture of Omaha, kind of the classic. Where the hell is our picture? Wait a minute.
We moved down?
No, we're number 15, but they gave us the wrong photograph.
What city is it? You probably know.
Pittsburgh. They printed the Pittsburgh photograph twice.
Uh-oh.
So apparently, Omaha is a place where 3 rivers meet, right by the downtown.
So everybody should write into what's the source?
Newsbreak.com.
Let them know we got shafted.
Where the hell is our, Gene Leahy Mall skyline shot? All right. Okay. Well, number 15 is Omaha. And it says medium home value is $151,000. Well, that's old.
That's real old.
Yeah, you can add at least $100,000 or more to that. Let's see. It says Nebraska's largest city is anchored by the business of major companies like TD Ameritrade, now Charles Schwab, and Green Plains. The Omaha Zoo and Aquarium is world-renowned for featuring the planet's largest indoor desert. Each summer, Omaha brings thousands of tourists and baseball fans by hosting the College World Series. That's what it says about us. Interesting. They didn't even choose the biggest companies in Omaha. But so how about a few other cities? Lincoln was very close to Omaha. They came in at number 17.
Wow.
And it said the University of Nebraska is a major force in Lincoln, a city that for decades has been home to a large refugee community. The city hosts major events in Nebraska, such as the Cornhusker State Games, and is the home to the National Museum of Roller Skating and the American Historical Society of Germans from Russia. Well, that's specialized.
They didn't mention Nebraska Cornhuskers football team.
No, interesting. But they mentioned the Cornhusker State Games, by golly. Now, what about some other cities? Let's see. Any other high-ranking cities from this part of the country? Well, number 10 was Minneapolis, Minnesota.
What if Kansas City got on there?
Yeah, they were down there like in the 20s or around 30. Usually when it comes to those lists, we usually beat Kansas City handily.
And we're happy to do it.
Kansas City's a great town. We always enjoy having.
But they're fun competition, though.
Yeah, we have fun. We have fun in Kansas City, but they have some issues that we don't, and I think they tend to kind of pop up in some of these ratings.
But I'll tell you, I mean, I remember 15 years ago, and before that, taking 2 to 3 trips a year to Kansas City to go to P.F. Chang's, to go to Cheesecake Factory and the Plaza and shopping and everything.
Were you a chain restaurant tourist?
Yeah, pretty much. No, but we pretty much have everything that they have. We don't have IKEA, but we've got Nebraska Furniture Mart, and they got Nebraska Furniture Mart, but NFM. But there's not a lot of reason for Omaha unless there's a concert or there's a sporting event or something like that.
Or you just want the nearest decent-sized city for a weekender.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah. Well, let me give you the top 5 because everyone wants to know the top 5. Okay, so number 5, San Francisco, of all places. Despite all of the problems.
Wow.
Obviously, still a lot of great things in San Francisco, so they made it. Number 5. Number 4, Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh always ranks high on everything. Number 3, Irvine, California, suburb of L.A. It's a suburb, but it has 270,000 people. Yeah. It's not a small suburb. Number 2, another suburb, Plano, Texas, which has almost 300,000 people, like about 290,000 people. The suburb of Plano, Texas, suburb of Dallas. And number 1 is another suburb, Arlington, Virginia.
Really?
232,000 people in that suburb of Washington, D.C. So if you want the best places to live, you want to be in suburban D.C., suburban Dallas, or suburban L.A., or Omaha at number 15. All right, let's take our middle of the show break, Trenton, and that's where we will share the news with you and some other information. We'll come back, and when we do, as part of our commercial real estate development spotlights brought to you by Nodal Companies, we're going to talk about big stuff happening at Exarban Village.
Perfect.
Including 2 new buildings that are going to be designed for construction here pretty quick. So you're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by NAI, NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate, and D&M Roofing. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals sitting next to Trenton Magid from NAI, NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. That is Omaha's premier real estate company. We do it all. Brokerage, working with landlords and tenants, buyers and sellers. We have a property management division. NP Dodge also has a title company, an insurance brokerage. We have people that actually help folks buy and sell houses. Of course, everyone knows that about NP Dodge. We do everything. Yeah, and as Trenton mentioned, you were off mic there, by the way, but we have a corporate relo firm.
NEI is world famous and very large.
Yeah, so all of that at NP Dodge, but NAI NP Dodge is the commercial arm of the company, and we help you with office, retail, industrial, land, multifamily properties, all that kind of good and exciting stuff. Stuff kind of like what we talk about here on Grow Omaha. Speaking of commercial real estate, it's time for our commercial real estate development spotlight, which is brought to you by Nodal Companies. Nodal Companies is headquartered right here in Omaha, but they are doing commercial real estate developments all over the nation, really. They also have residential projects that they do, including a couple of residential projects here in Omaha. But many of Nodal Companies' projects are here in town. The big ones are Exarban Village, Steel Ridge in Papillion, Gretna area, Builders District downtown, River's Edge, the Medical Center campus at Village Point. And next week, we'll talk about Monarch, a big project they're doing west of Village Point that's just about ready to get started. But today, we've got big news about probably Nodal Company's marquee development of all of them in town, which is Exarban Village. So, Trenton, I'll go through and kind of say some of the stuff. And I mean, we have a lot here. So get your pens and pencils ready, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, there are new amenities coming to that area outside the inner rail. There's the little
dog park.
Yeah, there's that little Airstream camper thing that's been turned into a bar called Sonny's. So they call it the Inner Rail Sonny's area. And one of the things you mentioned, the dog park, they're expanding and improving the dog park, and there's actually going to be a cocktail bar that will serve you while you are playing with your dog in the dog park.
Yeah, they're serving growlers.
They're very good. And if they don't do that, I'll be pretty disappointed. But that's pretty cool. And that will be opening into the dog park in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
You know, they're going to serve cocktails, which you'd think they'd serve dog tails instead of cocktails. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
He's here all week.
All morning.
I need to get that as a little sound drop
thank
for
you.
whenever you
Dr.
say this.
Demento show.
Yeah. And then starting on May 20th, there will be a concert at Sonny's near the Inner Rail every Friday night all the way through Halloween. And that would be in addition to any of the other shows that are over in Stinson Park. Now let's get into some real estate talk about what's happening in the Exarban area. Nautil Companies is working to demise, or in other words, divide the remaining retail space on the south side of the HDR headquarters building. Now, if you can picture the north side, Zoop is there. There's a, what is it?
Is it Lululemon pop-up?
Lululemon pop-up. The Green Belly has a place there. There's a handbag store and a kind of florist on the east side. But the south side has been empty. And that is being demised into 3 spaces. 2 of those spaces are spoken for. They are dry goods retail pop-ups. We don't have the names yet. We can't give it
anticipation.
We can't give everything all at once.
True.
We have to hold some stuff back so people keep listening. But 2 dry goods retail pop-ups will be going into that space, and then the 3rd space is being reserved for a restaurant. And we don't know if a restaurant is imminent there, but it will be coming. Also, a little further south, you might remember closer to Spirit World, there used to be a Backwoods store.
Yeah, that was a cool store. I'm surprised it didn't make it.
So there's a tenant committed to the Backwoods space, and we don't have permission yet from the developer to say that tenant, but
not even what it rhymes with.
Not even what it rhymes with. 20 questions, right? So here is the big news. 2 buildings planned for Exarban Village. Nautil Companies is going to start designing and breaking ground late this year or early next year. So the designing this year, but groundbreaking will be either late this year or early next year on a 150,000 square foot office building where the volleyball courts are currently. They'll be moved somewhere else. Don't worry if you're one of the volleyball players. 7 stories.
That's a big building.
That's going to be a lot of 150,000 square feet, 7 stories, office building. Will look really, really nice. And then right east of that, so still south of the HDR parking garage, but kind of the northwest corner of 64th and Francis, this is going to be a 72-unit apartment building, 6 stories. And
we've got height.
Those will be some very substantive construction projects. They also, not ready to announce the names of them yet, but have a couple new office tenants going into Exarban Village.
Exarban Village is full up. The Nautil portfolio, I think they said they have maybe 3,000 square feet left.
Tops, yeah. So that place is getting
even
really
sublease.
full.
I heard that Blue Cross Blue Shield had a huge sublease opportunity. I heard that's full too.
Yeah, they've got a yet to be announced sublease tenant, which will be a monster tenant. And then another office tenant going into another one of the buildings. So
where the old Gordman space was.
Yeah. So when you have those 2 office tenants coming in there, and then you start talking about yet another 7-story office building, yet another 6-story apartment building, a place that's already buzzing is going to be buzzing even more.
Absolutely. And then the employees are coming back to work at some of those big employers, and that really fills it up.
A couple other things that will be kind of fun in Exarban: public events. Concerts will start every Friday night. We already said that in May. And then the concert series in Stinson Park on Saturday night. So the outdoor park by Sonny's, their concerts will start in May on Fridays. But then the Stinson Park concert series is Saturday night. There will be 12 of those throughout the summer. The farmers market is also coming back to the north side of Center Street. And Exarban has signed a 5-year deal with the Summer Arts Festival to have that held there. And then Maha is coming back, the Maha Music Festival.
Yeah, they announced the lineup. I don't know the names, but that doesn't mean anything because I'm out of the loop.
Oh, I'm so out of the loop. And with me, if there's live music being performed and I happen to be there, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to like it. But don't ask me to tell you the name of any song or the name of any performer because I don't know.
I hear you.
I'm just not. I know if I like the music, but I don't spend any time knowing who sings what. People do that to me all the time. Like, what do you think about never heard of the guy until you mention it. All right, so that is your commercial real estate development spotlight for the week, brought to you by Noddle Companies, noddlecompanies.com. All right, we're going to take our final break of the hour, and you know what that means. When we come back, it's time for the lightning round, brought to you by Turner Construction. And I'm looking at the list right here, and I see about 8 or 9 different things, including new restaurants, which everyone wants to know. So stay with us. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by NAI, NP Dodge, and D&M Roofing. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid here on KFAB, ready to bring you the lightning round, brought to you by Turner Construction. Thank you to Turner Construction for making this possible. We are big fans of that company ever since it came to Omaha several years ago to work on the massive Sarpy County Data Center. And by the way, speaking of the massive Sarpy County Data Center, Trenton, when's the last time you drove by the data center on Highway 50?
Actually, just a couple days ago.
That last
expanding
phase,
south, yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't been by there, there's that phase on the southwest corner of Highway 50 and Capehart. You know, the first 2 phases were the northwest. Phases 3 and 4 were on the northeast. Now phases 5 and 6 are on the southwest, and they've got this big, huge building going up, but quite a bit to the southwest of this building, there's a ravine or a creek that runs through there. They're grading beyond that now when I was there about a week ago. So I don't know if they're going to stop. But at any rate, Turner's doing all of that. So when you go by and you see that amazing project, think Turner Construction. Now, for those of you who need to hire a general contractor for some of your projects that might not be quite as big as a multi-billion-dollar data center, they do that too. Like for instance, a lot of the Chase banks that you see, just those interior build-outs, they'll do projects like that as well. So from the small to the very huge and everything in between, Turner Construction does it and does an outstanding job of it. All right, so let's get on to it. Trenton, the first thing, we always like to start with restaurants because our listeners are hungry people. Hale Varsity Club plans to open in early May. This is going into the former Ozzy's Roadhouse in Southport West. That's by Cabela's in La Vista, just down the strip center from your favorite sushi place.
Absolutely.
But this is the former Ozzy. Would you ever go to that Ozzy's Roadhouse?
Yeah, be honest with you, I wasn't impressed. I understand why they closed, and it's a great facility, but the consistency wasn't there. And Hale Varsity is a local app or something like that.
It's a startup, so it's co-owned by Herdat, which is a marketing and communications, I think, high-tech firm.
Yep.
Headquartered here in Omaha. I think it has roots maybe in Lincoln, but they're headquartered here in Omaha. And then Hale Varsity is an online news outlet that covers Husker sports.
Yep.
And so I don't know this, but there might be some similar ownership there, or some friendships or something like that, or maybe Hale Varsity might be a client of Herdat.
Our friend Jack Cohen works there.
Okay, well, talk to Jack and find out the scoop. But this is being described as a one-of-a-kind sports bar, restaurant, and entertainment experience brought to you by Hale Varsity and Herdat.
They're probably going to broadcast live from there or something. That'd be cool. I
imagine they'll do something like that. And I would presume also a lot of Husker-type stuff and everything like that. Although I don't know if you can, and no offense to anyone, I don't know if any sports bar can be one of a kind. There are so doggone many of them.
Right.
But then again, I love sports bars, and so I'm glad to have that one added to the local collection. All right, speaking of sports bars, now let's go to the Tanner's Bar and Grill at 173rd and West Center Road. We told you that this was happening a couple months ago. Well, now it has happened. Capri is an Italian restaurant which has opened inside the Tanner's under the same ownership. In fact, the guy who owns that Tanner's and Capri also has the Tavern 180 restaurants. Is also the same person and entity that's going to be resurrecting the Julio's restaurants.
That's awesome.
And remember, we said a couple months ago, Julio's will be going to 114th and Dodge and near 192nd and Q, opening later this year. So I have to try this out. I have not been there yet, but I'm told it's not sports bar-y, if that's a word. I think it's more of a sit-down.
I wonder if it has the same entrance, because I know it's
no, south entrance.
It's on the south, because it's kind of the back of the building.
Yeah, so when you enter Tanner's, that's on the north side of the building. This Capri has a south entrance, but there's a door in between. You can pass between them. All right, let's keep talking about restaurants. And last week on the show, we told you that Noli's Pizzeria plans to open a location in Regency Landing. That is under construction at I-680 and Pacific Street. Well, that's not all. Noli's is also working on a Gretna location, going to open up later this year in a retail strip near Highway 6 and Schramm Road. Of course, the original Noli's is in the Blackstone district.
Yeah.
And that's a good place. That's a good place.
No, it's good stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Did I hear Cops Pizza's going to Village Point?
We heard that as an unconfirmed rumor. I've been meaning to call them, but I don't. I've heard that from like 2 or 3 different people, which means it must be true. But we've heard.
We'll have to confirm that one for people.
We believe it's going into the former Pier 1 space at Village
And there's
Point.
Shadow Lake Town Center. I think they're trying to sublease their 72nd and what is that, Harney or something location?
By the Mart.
Yeah.
But we have to find that out for sure. Like I said, we've heard it from about 3 different people. One of the persons we heard it from knows a lot about restaurants, but we'll have to confirm that one. All right. Sad news. Piccolo Pete's didn't make it.
Did they give it enough of a chance?
I think from reading the post that they put on Facebook, I think they gave it the chance they could afford to give it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. So if you're wondering what we're talking about, the original Piccolo Pete's for longtime Omahans, you know this, operated for many, many years, many decades near 20th and Martha. It was one of our family's favorites. I have early childhood memories of going there and loved the place. My dad and I used to go there a lot of times for lunch during the work days, and I could literally go in there and say, I'll take the usual. It was a place because I'd always get the same thing for lunch. You always got to miss a place that closes where you could order the usual.
Yeah.
At any rate, so the grandson of the founder was going to bring this back, and he did, into a very small space in downtown Papillion. Opened in January. It's already closed. Who knows? I mean, it's tough for restaurants right now, supply chain issues and food costs and labor availability. I never even made it to the new one, but from what I'm told, it was extremely small in there. It couldn't seat very many people.
Okay, economies of scale.
You got to have, So I don't know. Anyway, sad news on the restaurant. But let's not end on sad news in our restaurant talk. Let's talk about good news. I have never been to this place, but everyone raves about it. Dragon Walk, Chinese restaurant near 142nd and Fort, is going to open another location in Gretna at Nebraska Crossing. They'll go into the Voodoo Taco space. That's possible because Voodoo Taco is expanding into the old Pyocracy space. So Voodoo Taco is going to get a lot bigger at Nebraska Crossing. And then this Dragon Walk is going in to the old Voodoo space. We gotta try this.
Yeah, that'll be welcome at Nebraska Crossing. They need more food options.
Brownie Bar going to Oakview Mall, and also at Nebraska Crossing, Pac Sun store opens this Thursday. The music is playing. We're out of here. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggot.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Turner Construction, NAI NP Dodge, and D&M Roofing. We'll talk with you again next week right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.